Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by today because today we are going to be making molds and casting horns for the very first time. I mean, I've made cheap molds, like kind of DIY molds, but I've never used legit molding agent to make molds that I can use over and over and over again. And I'm really excited to try this. Plus, we are going to be reviewing ARTEZA's pack of mica powder. I haven't even opened this yet. I'm really excited to see all the colors. But yeah, ARTEZA recently came out with mica powders. They're pretty new. I don't think I've seen anyone use them before, and I'm really excited to see how they work. Plus, I've actually never used mica powder. I usually just mix in acrylic paint with my resin to color it. So this should be a lot easier to do than that, because I know when I mix acrylic paint in, it kind of makes it like gummy and weird. So we'll see how this works. So these are the horns that I'm going to try and mold. So basically I have a set of horns that are going to go on the head of, say, a dragon or something, and then I've got these little spikes that can go down the back of a creature. So I decided to go with two different types of horns because if one fails, I have another option to try out. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make some containers to put our horns in, that way we can pour the molding agent over them. So I was told cardboard should work, but the best thing to use for this is corrugated plastic. It looks basically like cardboard but plastic. And that would be the best thing to use for this, but I didn't have any of that, so I'm going to try and use some scrap pieces of cardboard to do this. And the main reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to make the thing that I'm casting as small as possible so I don't use as much of the molding agent because it's really expensive. So I think I'm going to start with the little horns, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to glue them to the cardboard. So I'm just going to glue these down and try and get them kind of close and even apart. I need enough space between them for the molding agent to be sturdy, but not super far apart to where we waste a lot of the molding stuff. Okay, now that we have our things encased, now we need to mix our silicone. Now this is the part that scares me the most because this stuff is kind of expensive. So I ended up getting a 2-part silicone, that way it would be easy to measure out because some of them require you actually weighing them and stuff, and I'm not dealing with that right now. I'm just going to mix equal amounts together as best I can and pour it. So I figured that would be a lot easier than getting a scale and stuff. So with these, we need to thoroughly mix them in the containers that they are in now, and then we're going to pour our equal amounts, mix those together until they're completely cohesive, and then we're going to try and pour them into our makeshift molds. Just open this up. Mix one, and then I'm going to mix the other. Probably needed longer sticks for this. Okay, I got them measured out. They look as close as I think I can get them, and now we're gonna mix them together. Now what is nice is since they are two different colors, that's gonna help us figure out if they're fully mixed. Because you're supposed to do it until there's like no streaks or anything like that. So I like the fact that it is two different colors. I'm going to do this one first, and then the excess I'll pour into that, and then we'll mix the rest of our mold stuff together. Why does this actually look yummy? And when you're mixing these, you want to make sure to scrape the sides and get it well mixed as well, because if you look, you can see all the stuff at the bottom is still white and hasn't turned blue yet. Okay, this is a lot thicker than mixing resin. Ugh, I should have gotten a better stick. Okay, I think I'm just going to start pouring. We're going to do this one first. And it says to just start pouring in one spot and only one spot. I really hope I mixed enough for this one mold. I thought I mixed too much. Now I'm wondering how that other one's gonna go. Okay, so after molding this, I realized I made it way too big and I pretty much wasted a lot of silicone by having the pieces that far apart. I should have had them a lot closer together. So I redid the mold container for these. I just used pretty much a aluminum foil container, and this will hopefully be a lot easier to pour into, and we can probably use a lot less silicone. So I'm going to mix up some more and we're going to pour this. Oh yeah, that's using so much less than I would have with that weird contraption that I thought would work. I still have a little bit left over if I want to do a small mold of something, or if I didn't mix up enough of this, I can pour it on top. So the type of silicone that I ended up using is a fast curing kind, so it only needed to be setting for like 30 minutes. So I've already demolded everything, and I'm going to check them out and show you guys what we got. So this is the one with the little spikes. Now I panicked with this one, and you see these little things here, they're just like washers or something, and I threw them into the mold because I just barely didn't pour enough in there. So I probably should have mixed up just a tiny bit more and it would have been fine. Or if I was a little bit smarter, I probably would have made like 4 more horns, and then I could have gotten more out of the mold. So now I know to put them a little bit closer together, because this stuff is actually quite stretchy, so I don't think I needed that much space in between the things. And then these are for the larger horns. They aren't too bad. There is a few thin spots, but honestly for my first time doing molds, I'm really happy with how they came out. I didn't ruin them, at least. So now that those are done and a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because yay, they succeeded and I didn't have to spend another week waiting for more silicone to come in, we can finally start on using the resin and the mica powders. Okay, so as you can see, I've yet to open this. It's still in the little cellophane wrapper, and I wanted to be basically equally as surprised as you guys are, so I don't want to ruin it and dig through everything. So let's open this bad boy up. Ah! Okay, there we go. Get that over there. Now before we open it, I really like this about ARTEZA's stuff is they label all of the stuff on the back so you can see all the different colors, and they're all named too. So I like that they have that on the back to show you all the different colors before you get them. Okay, so let's get it open. Okay, so we have a little measuring spoon, a little note thing. Okay, so this little card basically just says that everything is weighed, so they're all exactly the same amount. Okay, so obviously we have a ton of different colors to work with. A bunch of different variations of different colors. Now, they'll probably look a lot better once they're mixed, because they're in powder form right now, but you can clearly see that they're pretty shimmery and stuff. Ooh, that one's pretty. So I'm going to go through and decide what colors I want to use. The dragon that I'm working on is going to be a combination of blue, purples, and pinks. So I'm going to try and pick my favorite of those 3 colors. So these are the colors that I have decided that I'm going to use for my dragon. I've got French blue, lavender, and then raspberry red. So even though it says red, this looks very pink to me, so I figured that would be a good pink. Okay, now I'm going to go mix up a bunch of resin, and then we're going to add this to it. Okay, so I've got my resin mixed up, and I'm just adding the mica powder to it. I don't think you have to add a whole lot. I'm trying not to get this in the resin. So I'm just adding a tiny bit here and there. We can always add more. And then this one has a lot more resin than the others because I'm going to use this for majority of the big horns. So that's probably way too much. I have no reference of how much to add. So there, so resin doesn't get on it, and now we're just going to mix these all up. Yeah, this is definitely not red. It is kind of more of a pinkish red, but I can definitely see why it was called raspberry. Oh, look at that. Yeah, honestly, I probably added too much, but it's not going to hurt it. I'm really happy with the colors I picked so far. Yeah, they definitely look better once you mix them. Now remember, I've never used mica powders, so I'm impressed with pretty much everything right now, but this is really pretty. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the larger horns, and I want to kind of try and layer it. I really have no idea if this will work, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of the blue first. And I just want to try and hit the very bottom of it. Just a tiny bit. Trying to not get it on the sides because I don't want it to run down the sides. Honestly, you probably need to wait in between curing these layers, but let's just see what happens. I'm gonna pour some purple. Okay, and then majority of this is gonna go in there. I'm gonna have to mix up more for the little horns, but that's okay. And I'm pretty much fine with it not filling all the way to the top. The top is kind of a little messed up right now. Okay, we'll see if that actually like does the whole fade thing. It'd be really cool if it did. And then I'm gonna put the rest of this into our little spike mold, and then I'll mix up some more to fill the rest because I know I don't have enough resin to fill all that. Okay guys, it is the following day. My resin has finally cured completely and we can start taking it out of the molds. So I think we're going to start with the little spike ones, and then we are going to move on to seeing if the big horns actually turned out. I really hope they faded, but I have a feeling that they're just kind of swirled in different colors and stuff. I think I'm just going to start by like moving it around a little bit and loosening everything up, and then I can start popping it. I think I can just kind of push on the little bumps on the back and it should get everything to come up. Oh yeah, they're just popping right out. Okay, that's actually not that bad. I got a few air bubbles, but that's probably just because I need to start pouring things a little bit slower. Okay, let's see what the others look like. Here's a blue one. Oh, that one's pretty. They're a little darker than I thought they'd come out, but that's perfectly fine. Okay, honestly, these are not that bad. I really like these, and I think it'd be fun to mess with other things. Too bad this stuff is expensive, but now I learned to not use so much and to have everything closer together. But yeah, the colors came out really good. They're not glossy because the clay pieces I used were not glossy. So if I want them to be glossy right out of the mold, I need to mold something that is actually smooth. So if I want to make them glossy now, I could probably just like paint over them with another layer of resin and then they'd go back to being nice and glossy. The only thing is they won't look like that. See how it's all nice and really shimmery and stuff on the back side? It won't look exactly like that if I paint over it unless I add the mica powder to the layer that I paint over. But still, they are shimmery and they look really cool. Okay, these may be a little bit more difficult to get out of the molds. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna kind of like twist it a little bit. I want to be gentle because obviously I don't want to like destroy my mold, but I want to make sure to release everything. I'm just going to push down and then pull. Oh, I love that. It actually faded. I didn't have to wait in between each layer. Oh, that looks really cool. I mean, I do have a few air bubbles, but I'm honestly pretty much fine with that. That came out really good. Yeah, see? And it actually faded where it kind of looks like it stops at the certain ridges. Okay, let's see what the other one looks like. Hopefully it came out just as good. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, they both worked really well. Oh, I'm really happy with that. Now obviously this is just one way we can use our mica powder. There's a bunch of other ways. I've heard that you can actually paint it onto the clay pieces before baking and it should bake in. And I might try that later and see if that actually works. And then I could probably apply it over like painted surfaces before resining over it. I'm just kind of concerned that it might mix into the resin. So obviously I gotta test that out. But yeah, we got a bunch of colors and you'll probably see this being used a lot more frequently. Only thing is I need to save up and get some more molding agents so we can use different things. I think right now, because financially I can only afford to make like small molds, like accessories and stuff, I'm not going to mold heads and stuff just yet. But eventually I'm going to get to the point where I can mold entire heads and possibly feet and be able to reuse those over and over again. But yeah, I'm really happy with these. And they're actually, are they lighter? Oh, they're actually a lot lighter than the clay. That's awesome. So I couldn't help myself. I wanted to try out another pair of horns. So ARTEZA gave me these little glitter shakers and they're really cool. So I ended up using those along with the mica powder to make these horns. Now these I think will look really cool if I go over them with a kind of finish of resin. That way everything is nice and shiny, because even though the glitter is showing through, I think it'll look better if I resined over it a second time. But yeah, I did both of these glitters, and then I did a little bit of mica powder, and pretty much the glitter rose to the surface and the mica powder sunk, so it created this really cool fade. So you'll see these probably in another project, I just don't know what yet. Okay guys, so that is my first attempt at making molds and using mica powder for the very first time, and I absolutely love using both products. I love ARTEZA's mica powders. They came out really good. I do need to figure out how to mold something a little glossier. I think I just need to use a different type of clay. So I really like them. I think I'm going to end up using them in future projects. Obviously I've got a bunch of different colors to try out, so you'll definitely see them again. So I don't know if it'll be next week's video. I'm going to try, but it probably will be like in 2 weeks or so that we're going to be making a full-on dragon using these horns and a few other ARTEZA products that I want to try out that I haven't used before. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. It may be next week, like I said, but it may not be. I'm going to try and get it done as soon as I can since we already have the horns and stuff. Anyways guys, I'm going to have all the links to the supplies that I used in this video, and then I also have a coupon code if you guys want to use that to get 10% off on your next ARTEZA purchase. So I'll have that down in all the links and stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!